Hi, I'm Rohit and welcome to my channel Loving Soulfully, where we talk about self-love, soul love, and divine love. And today we're going to talk about how you can get to a place where nothing matters. You might say, that's crazy. How can nothing matter? How can nothing affect you? Well, I learned the secret from my 3-year-old niece and I'm going to share it with you today. It's fascinating how a little child can teach us some of the most powerful lessons in the world. If you'd like to get to a place where you can be free from all the influences of the world and not get affected and thrown off, then this video is for you. Let's go down into why things bother us. For the most part, what I've seen is this. When we look at the world, our mind tends to throw everything into, I like this, I don't like this. I agree with you, I disagree with you. This is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is evil, whatever, right? We have this sort of a binary polarity within our minds. And for most spiritual philosophers, they've called that duality. We live in a world of duality, but that duality is created by our minds. So, if it's a question of heat or cold, if it's a question of things in the market going up or down, where the circumstances are working out the way you want or they don't want, how can you stay unaffected by all of that? This question was answered for me by my niece when she was 3 years old. She's a lot older now. I noticed something very interesting that she would say. When she was given an ice cream cone, let's say she was given a strawberry and a vanilla, and you asked her, which one do you like better? She would say, both are best. I found that a really strange response. What do you mean both are best? It's like, this is a weird thing to say. Never heard anyone talk like that. And then she had this other line that she came up with. Whenever she noticed someone was getting tense or stressed, she would say, hey, nothing matters. And I looked at her and I again wondered, what the heck is she trying to say? This child was playful, fun, just vibrant in every way. One day it struck me. There was this mystery that had been in my head for a while. There was actually a solution. There was actually sense in this, method to this madness, if you want to call it that. And that was this, that if you could look at both sides of duality, that which you like and that which you don't like, that which you agree with and that which you disagree with, this party or that party, then you'd come to a point where nothing matters. If you and I are in an argument, and if I could think about your point of view, and if you could consider my point of view, there'd be no argument left. We'd stop fighting because we listen to each other, right? We all have this experience. So let me give it to you another way. One of the things I recently learned is this. You know how most people say the glass is either half full or half empty? Some people say half full, they're the positive people. And those who say it's half empty, well, they're the negative people. And I beg to disagree. I don't agree with any of that. The fact of the matter is, the glass is both half full and half empty at the same time. Right there, it is not either half empty or half full, it is both half empty and half full. And since it is neither half empty nor half full, well, where's the argument? Consider this. If what you think is +1 and what someone else thinks is the opposite of that, let's call it -1 or -1, then +1, -1 is equal to 0, right? If you've got +10, -10, 0, right? So if my point of view is +10, your point of view is -10, 0, if we listen to each other. So that's another way of saying the same thing, A and -A. Right? These two, when they come together, the whole conflict, the whole of duality dissolves in our minds. What does that mean? If I could sum it up for you in a sentence, it would be, this and its opposite are simultaneously true. So if you're into politics, you would say this party and the opposing party are both simultaneously true, if you could see both points of view. And now you wouldn't be stuck in either one of them. You'd be able to appreciate the positives or the benefits of both points of view. If you were to be part of some kind of a dialogue or any kind of conflict, if I could dissolve that, this would be the fastest and surest way of doing it. Now, what's the benefit of doing this besides conflict? If you can be free of duality, let's say of heat, right? It's really hot. I used to do this just to challenge myself. Or crowds, if you have an issue with that. I would challenge myself by stepping into the very place of discomfort. So on days where it was super hot, like when I lived in India, and it would go up to 40, 45 degrees centigrade, which is about 115 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, I would go out in the middle of the afternoon, and people would say, "You're nuts, it's air conditioned in the house and the office. Why are you stepping out?" I'd say, "No, I got to do this." This was my practice, to step into the heat and to not react, not tense up, to not react to it, to just simply let go, to loosen up, to stop resisting it. And what would happen as a result was I started to enjoy it. Actually, I learned this from some Australians who came to visit my place of business back then. And they came in saying in the middle of summer in India, they said, "Man, you guys have the best weather." It's like looking at them, "You nuts? Everybody else walks in here and says how the weather is so horrible. You know, it's hot and muggy." That was when I was in Mumbai. And they said, "No, you have the best weather." So like, how can they find this to be the best weather? This is crazy. So I thought, let me do an experiment. So I went out and started experimenting with this kind of stuff. And I realized if you turn your mind around, it starts to respond differently. Suddenly, my mind was able to see glimpses of cool air coming in through the heat. It was able to suddenly enjoy that extreme weather. I tried the same thing when I lived in Toronto, and it was super cold, like in winter, minus 25, 30 degrees centigrade. My tendency was to tense up. But I had to learn how to loosen, how to be able to become flexible. So these are gifts and skills that you're going to need for the rest of your life. The more you practice this, the more you'll become free. This can also be called acceptance, accepting reality as it is. You know, great philosophers have talked about why we suffer. Buddha would say that the cause of suffering is from our attachment, but I'll go much further. Suffering arises when we try to resist the nature of reality, the nature of how things are. So when you go against what is, you suffer. And when you embrace what is, whether that's heat or cold, whether that is a person who is different than you are, a person who thinks differently, whether it's your own faults or mistakes, when you accept the nature of reality, the home you live in, the circumstances you're in, you will be a happier person. You will have better relationships, and you will no longer suffer the way most people do. Try it out for yourself. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to experiment. These are thoughts and ideas that I've played with. How about you trying it out? Play with it yourself and see what happens. I'd love to hear your experience. If you could write something in the comments, either you've already had such experiences or go try it out and then come back and write something in the comments as to what worked and what didn't work for you. I will be happy to encourage you and show you ways to fine-tune this, but it will bring you to a place where you will truly experience that nothing really matters. Please like and comment on this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.